My photo's caption reads as follows. Lebanon's 2019 October Revolution carried through to the following year, when the nation experienced an uprising against the political elite and widespread protests throughout the country. On January 14, 2020, day 90 of the revolution, protesters in Beirut blocked major roads by burning tires and using dumpsters as barricades. On this specific day, underprivileged kids and teenagers strode up the numbers. Some were running between the burning tires, some were chanting, some were sitting in line on the pavement. In a split second, amid the smoggy chaos, I captured this young gentleman flashing a peace sign at the camera. My name is Lynn Chaya, and I'm a Lebanese-Syrian journalist currently based in Toronto, and I work as an editor with the National Post. I decided to become a photographer because, above all else, I'm a truth seeker, and we all have different means in the way that we express truths, and mine was through photography. And my coverage of Lebanon's uprising was as raw and unedited as can be because I believe that every single person affected by the Lebanese government's negligence deserves to have their voices heard with no filter. And I think my photos reflect just that. And it's not my narrative as a photographer, but the narrative of the subject. You know, like they're the ones that are telling the story. And my job is just to be a fly on the wall and relay these stories and these truths to the world. This particular photo was taken adjacent to what's called the Ring Bridge in Beirut. And it was on a day that saw a big number of protesters. And there were a lot of kids from an underprivileged neighborhood nearby, and they decided to participate in the protests. I mean, I think the importance of this photo is that among the political turmoil that Lebanon sees on a daily basis, we forget that the younger generation is the one that suffers the most. You know, putting all political opinions aside, we and the government, obviously there's only so much we can possibly do, are responsible for the kind of environment that we cultivate for these kids. And the young gentleman in the photo is a reflection of the current environment that has been left for them. The thing that fascinates me most about photography is the archival aspect of it. It's a stamp in the recounting of history, and to have it published in a book is a reminder for 50 years from now, or however many years from now, that this was a moment that occurred in history, especially considering the year that Lebanon had in 2020 after the explosion. And this photo was taken before the explosion. This was about 6 months before the explosion. So, you know, this photo to be featured in this book is an extremely important stamp in the history of 2020.
Thank you for spending time with me today. Now let's jump into the interviews from artists featured in this chapter. All right, I hope you joined that episode and learned something new. All right, I hope you enjoyed that episode and took out some valuable information. I can't read that. I'll just read it. All right, I hope you enjoyed that episode. You can find the artists and their photos on Scopio. I hope that you take some valuable information from this episode and apply it into your own work and realize how resilient you actually are. Don't forget to tune in. All right, I hope you enjoyed that last episode and learned something new. Don't forget to tune in to the next episode to see what other crazy, incredible, creative, and empowering lessons you can learn from the photos and faces.